Severe weather is moving eastward from Texas and the Central Plains towards the Mississippi Valley. Reports of a tornado in Wichita caused damage to the city, including a shopping center and a school. Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Weather Center. I'm Lisa Mozer. For the latest on the severe weather, let's go to Will Annen. He's in the forecast center. Will?
Thanks a lot, Lisa. Once again, we are talking about another volatile situation shaping up for the upcoming day today. More severe thunderstorms across much of the nation's midsection down to the mid-south. We'll have more on that coming up with our storm analyst, Dr. John Scala, in just a couple of more moments. First of all, let's take a look at some of the damage earlier on today. This was the scene in Wichita, Kansas, which is still picking up the pieces after a tornado. Reported tornado touched down earlier on. A shopping center and a school were heavily damaged, but there are no reports of any injuries as of this time. Winds topping 65 miles an hour and pea-sized hail were reported at McConnell Air Force Base a little bit earlier on as that squall line began to move on through. Well, joining me right now is Dr. John Scala, our severe storms analyst here at the Weather Channel. And once again, it looks like we've got a volatile situation shaping up one more time today.
That's right, Will. I've been doing this almost every other day, it seems, and we've got another very strong low coming out of the southwest, moving over Kansas, the state of Kansas right now as we speak, and we're going to be watching this now, I'm afraid, for the rest of the afternoon and this evening.
And let's take a look at our satellite picture right now, and you can see that we are looking at, once again, some wicked lines of storms trying to organize right now over the deep south.
A couple of features, Will, we can mention right now. There's a fairly decent subtropical jet which is moving aloft to the south, and some strong winds coming in behind the developing convection in the Kansas and Oklahoma area, oriented like that. Upper level low is back over here, and the surface low is actually quite close to that. And there's a cold front draping down through Oklahoma into Texas, and then we're going to be watching a warm front surge through Missouri.
And that frontal system right now is really beginning to move its way northward, and you can see that the warm front really is going well to the north into the Missouri right now.
All right, we're going to update this hopefully in the next time through, but this warm front has gone through Kansas City. I just checked their observations. Their winds are out of the southeast. Temperature and humidity is on the rise, so they're going to be in an area which is going to be quite volatile this afternoon.
And of course, most of Missouri and Arkansas and also eastern Kansas is in that warm sector right now, the most unstable air mass right now, and that's the reason why we have these tornado watches out.
Right, we're going to be looking at some line segments which are oriented through these boxes, these watch areas, and the Storm Prediction Center has indicated that there is the potential for portions of these segments to become somewhat rotational and therefore could produce a tornado.
Let's take a look at some of the radars from these areas right now, and you can see that we are looking at basically some light to moderate rainfall and nothing severe over the state of Iowa right now, but all you have to do is move your way southbound and you run into trouble.
Yeah, that's very true. The surface low is located back over here. It's the weather's actually improving through Wichita and the cold front drapes down through there. This activity over here is actually ahead of the warm front, so we're going to be a little bit concerned about the position of the warm front. We could see some strong storms developing along that warm front, and then later on today, Kansas City and down to the south.
Well, let's take a look at this area right in through here because we can zoom into that area right now and show you what's going on real close to Topeka and heading towards Kansas City.
Right. The line segments, when they indicate a little bit of an S signature like we're seeing here north of Topeka, should cause us a little bit of concern because these storms over the last 3 days have had a history of what we call line echo wave pattern or bow echo formation, and we see strong winds associated with that activity.
And from this point, we'll take you farther southbound right now where things are looking much better around Dallas. But now we have to worry about what is developing just to the west of Little Rock, Arkansas, Fort Smith, and even right around Texarkana.
Dew points are in the low 70s as we get down here towards Shreveport and into Louisiana, and therefore we might expect to see these storms actually intensify this afternoon.
And here we go with that line beginning to cross the Oklahoma border right now into Arkansas. And again, it looks like Fort Smith is under the gun at the present hour.
A good thing to see at this point is that most of the activity is remaining in a linear fashion. We're not seeing the individual activity out ahead of the line.
And by later on today, John, it looks like we could be looking at severe weather in this red zone all the way from Iowa, close to Des Moines, just southwest of Chicago, all the way down to Shreveport again, Little Rock, even around Longview, Texas. And you can see as we look at our progs, we can show you that by later this afternoon, we will be looking at, well, again, That squall line developing, getting real close towards St. Louis, moving through the Little Rock area, and by early morning tomorrow, it looks like the worst of the weather again is going to be right in through here. But again, it looks like tomorrow may not be as big as a severe weather day across the nation's midsection.
Right, that's the way I would look at it. We've got a high building into the East Coast, and the area of real concern will narrow with time. So tomorrow should not be anything like today.
Okay, thanks a lot. Dr. John Scala right here with us, our severe storms analyst this go around. Now we're going to go back to the studio, and standing by is Lisa Mozer. She has more on the weather across the west. Take it away, Lisa.
Thanks for the update, Will. And again, if you're standing by your PC, can't get to the TV, always check us out on weather.com. Looking at the forecast for more snow, wouldn't you know it, we've been under this troughing in our long wave pattern. That allows for colder air, and the systems, one right after the other, keep coming on in. They're bringing valley rain showers. San Francisco, we're looking out for rain, Crescent City, but around Mount Shasta, the Cascades, and the Northern Sierras, we are looking at more snow. Speaking of snow, Denver, Colorado, let's go there. We had some snow this morning. Now we are looking at some conditions that will likely melt what snow we did see. We're looking at the Aurora area, Colorado. The snow did come down, and it was a problem on some of the highways very early this morning. But this afternoon we are looking at mostly sunny skies, and temperatures should be warm enough for a lot of that snow that came down, a couple of inches, it's going to be melting. Looking at our system, it's coming on in, and look, it's very wet right now around the San Francisco, the Bay Area. This will continue to push on south, where eventually it does look like we may even see some more snow this early part of the week around the Flagstaff, Arizona. You may recall yesterday we were looking at 9 to 10 inches of snow. That means about a couple of feet of snow on the ground, and yet another system coming on board. So a very active weather pattern to the west, in addition to the system that we're currently looking out towards the midsection of the country. Some nice weather for you in the northeast. We are looking at mostly clear skies in Boston and Philadelphia. We've got a little residual moisture left over in and around the D.C. area, but temperatures are a bit milder. We had some cooler air to come in with that northerly wind at about 15 miles per hour, breezy, cooler. Temperatures right now in Boston, 48 degrees. Temperatures around the New York area at Central Park currently 46, and D.C. at 49, so not nearly as warm. You may recall we were looking at some very warm temperatures all up and down the eastern seaboard until the cold air moved in from the north with a backdoor front. Charlotte, North Carolina had a record high yesterday, 86. Atlantic City, New Jersey, what a big drop in the temperatures when the front did push through our backdoor front. 77, we reached that very early in the day. Florence, South Carolina, nice 93-degree temperature. We could see some record high temperatures again. We're looking at the forecast highs. We'll talk more about this very warm day in the southeast in the forecast, but I do want to take you over to Europe, where we are looking at some improvement. You may recall all last week we had a lot of cloud cover. A system just kind of died out in the area. Now we have another system working its way eastward across Europe, but right now we're just seeing some variable cloudiness across the Yugoslavia area. The Balkan region not likely to see very much rain, and once we see more of that sun, we are going to see some warmer temperatures, and so the forecast is drier and warmer, at least for the next couple of days across the Balkan region. Taking a closer look out towards Sarajevo, looking at partly cloudy skies, but Belgrade and Yugoslavia looking at mostly sunny at this hour. As we head into the evening hours, temperatures are beginning to cool. Right now we're looking at 67 after a high today around 70 degrees. The forecast tonight, we'll see these temperatures come down, probably low 30s and 40s. So a little bit cooler. That's because we're losing the cloud cover. But as we get a little bit warmer this week, we'll see those overnight low temperatures come up as well. Looking at the forecast, well, Chicago awaiting more rain showers, and we do have a chance of seeing some thunderstorms. The thunderstorms are likely to get here by the early evening hours. Prepare for that. Still a very breezy day across the northeast, and you'll note that with all that breeziness, it's still very sunny, very clear, even through tomorrow. However, a chance of some flooding problems across parts of Iowa. Waterloo, Iowa, we may see several inches of rain with all of the thunderstorm activity, so please be very careful with your travel along Interstate 70, Interstate 60. Lots of 70s and 80s in the southeast today. Again, very warm. Florence, South Carolina, you could easily see another record high temperature. Miami, no problems here. Lots of 80s in the forecast. Overnight tonight, still very cool to the west. We are looking at 20s and 30s, and that means a lot of the snow that is expected through the hill country today, the Cascades, the northern Sierras, will be staying on the ground. So a lot of ski resort areas will be getting a little prolonged season. When we start talking warm weather, we also start talking about baseball. We are looking at severe weather dampening some problems today in the Kansas City area, where the Red Sox will be taking on the Kansas City Royals, and some strong thunderstorms are likely to continue to cause some problems in that area, not only for the players but the fans trying to get there. You'll also enjoy some very nice conditions, however, in Cincinnati, where we are expecting partly sunny skies, temperatures in the 60s for the game today. San Francisco, well, let's hope you do well. We'll be back. Travel troubles with thunderstorms. More details next on Travel Wise.
Do you have trouble understanding conversations in a crowded room? Or difficulty understanding soft speech, like a child's voice? Or does it seem like people are mumbling when they talk to you? If so, do what millions of people have already done. Call Miracle Ear for a valuable free information kit. When you call our toll-free number right now, you'll receive our free Hearing Loss and You videotape. It explains the common causes of hearing loss and what you can do about it. As a bonus, you'll also receive our informative booklet, Your Guide to Hearing Problems and Hearing Solutions. You'll get straightforward answers to common questions about hearing help. So why wait? Start enjoying life again. Call right now for your free video information kit, only from Miracle Ear.
Now, your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
And it's time now for Travel Wise. I'm Lisa Mozer. Thanks for tuning in for this edition.
And we're watching the western U.S. as this next system has moved in. You've got your own share of rain with mountain snow, and we are expecting more snow as we head through tonight. Something else we've seen across the country is some contrasting temperatures. Take a look at what's going on out there right now. We're in the 40s and 50s here to the west, but still holding in the 80s across the deep south. Otherwise, weather pretty quiet for a lot of folks here. But it's not quiet for you to the north. We've got this area of low pressure and rain. Of course, storms here, but rain on into Minnesota and into Wisconsin, a bit of snow falling as well. And for you tonight in Minneapolis, it's kind of a soggy night where we see the darker greens and the yellows. That's where the heavier rain is, and the rain, of course, still coming down at this hour. You've endured heavy rain for most of the day. There have been wind gusts over 30 miles per hour, and the temperatures have been in the low 40s. You'll want to keep the umbrella close to the door. You'll need it tonight, and probably you'll need it tomorrow morning as well. The rain really not showing much of a sign of letting up here for you in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Of course, we're also seeing rain in the west and some snow through the Sierra, and that extends on into Nevada and into Idaho. As far as the rain, this is what we're seeing. Sort of scattered activity around the San Francisco Bay Area, and the rain north of Fresno. So Fresno, Sacramento, San Francisco, we can't rule out the possibility of sort of a soggy night tonight, but the higher elevations will be seeing snow. Some of the highest elevations in the Sierra could pick up a foot of snow or more through mid-morning tomorrow. Warren?
With the situation going on in Yugoslavia, we know many of you want
plenty of sunshine to start the day here. New York City and Philadelphia. Philly around 37, 42 in New York. Rain to the south and maybe some storms for you in Memphis, so not the nicest start to your Tuesday commute. And we'll also have some areas of fog, so that will make for a bit of a rough drive into work. Maybe give yourself a little extra time to get where you're going. Windy conditions in the Windy City, 47 for you in Chicago. Rain in Minneapolis, St. Paul at 40 degrees. And finally to the west we go. It's rain for you in San Francisco, clouds in LA at 49. Well, this is what it looks like for those low temperatures on Tuesday. Chilliest in the west and also in the northeast, while it's really going to be pretty mild across the deep south. Lows only dropping down into the 60s. And here's what we'll see through the day on Tuesday. Watching this area of low pressure and rain and storms here with our front, and of course watching our system in the west as well. And snow for the mountains, snow also a possibility through the upper Midwest and on into the early evening hours. This is where we're expecting most of the active weather to be, marching eastward and then of course across the southwest. Heaviest amounts of precipitation in these areas, locally 1 to 2 feet of snow in the Sierra. And here are those high temperatures, very mild across the deep south. Warren?
It's time to play ball. Today is the official start of the 1999 baseball season. We've had reports on game conditions throughout the day. Let's take a look at one of the later games on the West Coast, and that is New York at Oakland. Game time about 10:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and not looking like a great night for baseball here in Oakland. Cloudy and cold, temperatures only in the upper 40s, and there is the possibility that we'll be seeing some light showers in the Bay Area as we go through the evening as a Pacific storm system heads down the West Coast. Well, when we come back, we'll update your travel conditions, including where you may encounter severe weather.
Watch TravelWise, that's coming next. But first, we leave you with pictures of the cherry blossoms, which are blooming in the nation's capital. Areas where you could run into travel problems. In the west, rain with mountain snow. Some areas in the Sierra could pick up some very heavy amounts of snow, a foot or more, not out of the question. While we move eastward, it's rain and storms. Some of these storms are severe. As a matter of fact, in southeastern Missouri and Butler County, you're under a tornado warning right now, so take cover immediately if you live here. Of course, this is our travel trouble spot because of that threat of severe weather. Anywhere you see in red, you could have very rough weather indeed. Line of storms marching through, and that threat for severe weather extends all the way up into eastern Iowa. We do have watches out. Tornado watches in red, severe thunderstorm watches in yellow. So be alert if you live in these areas, and if you're going to be traveling these areas, keep in mind that you may have some very rough weather to contend with. Maybe a good time just to stay indoors. Wet weather here anywhere from really the upper Midwest back down toward the Gulf Coast. Snow in the higher elevations in the west. Look out for fog, reducing your visibility along the Gulf Coast and into the Appalachians. And windy conditions, a rather widespread area where winds could be over 30 miles per hour. Well, look at weather in the northeast. Really not so bad for your drive into work Tuesday morning. We'll see a temperature around 61 degrees by the afternoon in New York, 63 in Philly and in D.C. So all in all, not so bad of a day for you. Now southward, it may not be quite as nice for folks in western Tennessee and on into Mississippi, where you will see the chance for rain, and that rain may be moving into Atlanta by the afternoon. Another mild day across the deep south, well into the 70s and 80s. In Chicago, it looks like you're going to be out of the wet weather by the morning hours, but you will have some windy conditions in the Windy City at 60 degrees. And finally in the west, it's rain with mountain snow, and we could see some pretty significant amounts of snow here in the Sierra. Look out for more rain in San Francisco and in LA, and windy conditions in San Diego. And stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll have a look at your weekly planner. Don't go away.
This program was sponsored by Kelly Services for all your staffing needs.